Hello everyone. For those of you who don't know me, good. I don't need crazy ass porn WikiLeaks on my ass. That's why I anonymously made this video. For those of you who are not too aware of the adult industry, give or take a couple of wankings here and there, you are about to learn a lot. For the last 7 or so years, I've been an avid porn enthusiast and an active member on the largest online porn community, Adult DVD Talk. I even have produced and directed a plethora of adult films. I know how the business works and I am sad to see the direction it is taking. Since leaving the adult industry as a producer, I currently work as a legal consultant for several firms and have sadly been dragged back into this mess of an industry. None of the firms I work for even asked me about this situation or relate to the industry at all, but after reading a couple of the well-articulated posts by Mike South, I also feel like it is my duty to educate some of you sheep. Obviously, the big topic of discussion right now is the infamous condom law Measure B, and the legislation behind Assembly Bill number 332. For today, we'll talk about mostly AB 332. I've seen Mike South bring up some really good points, but I feel like he is too smart for a lot of you people in the industry, so I thought I would dumb it down even further. One point him and I can agree on is that the FSC and all these people in the industry against the bill are force-feeding you guys just as much, if not more bullshit than the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. I'm not saying take my word for it. I'm not saying take Mike's, and I'm definitely not saying take the FSC's word for it. I'm saying pick up a goddamn book or use Google for Christ's sake. If most of you took the time to read the bill instead of listening to what people with self-interest are propagating to you, you would really see what's going on. However, since obviously a lot of you don't give a damn and just want to be on the in crowd, I will break it down for you. Before I get into the actual wording of the legislation at hand, let's start off with why people in the industry don't want this bill to pass so bad. The word of the day is self-interest. Recently, there was a political action group formed called the Adult Performers Coalition for Choice. On the onset, it looked like a pretty legit group and was advocating that the performers got to choose their fate. It seemed progressive in nature, but as I looked into it, I saw the clear politics of the issue. The performers, quote-unquote, who all backed it and potentially played a part in forming it, have a little bit of conflicting interests. Those performers, Alana Evans, Amber Lynn, Jessica Drake, Julie Meadows, Kylie Ireland, Nina Hartley, Stephen St. Croix, Tanya Tate, and Tasha Rain, are all more than just past or present performers. Every single one of them is a director and producer and owns their own site. With Julie Meadows being the exception, which I will get to later, this didn't seem right. Every single one is more than just a performer. No one in the coalition is purely just a performer. Even one of them, Tanya Tate, is married to someone who works in Manwin, the largest porn company to date, which owns all the free tube sites which have robbed the industry long before any legislation was proposed. What I am about to explain through the wording of this bill will explain everything. The performers have nothing to lose and everything to gain. However, the minority of producers in the industry have a little bit of their profit to lose. According to the bill in Section 3, a quote-unquote employer means a company, partnership, corporation, or individual engaged in the production of an adult film. Sounds a lot like everybody who is against this bill and everybody on the Adult Performers Coalition for Choice and even everybody they're interviewing. Also in the bill, it states that those employers, like every employer in the United States, must coincide with some basic laws and regulations, and in this case, quote, an employer shall maintain engineering and work practice controls sufficient to protect employees from exposure to blood and any other potential infectious materials. So no, that does not mean saliva so you can still French kiss. Also, quote unquote, an employer shall make available the hepatitis B vaccination and all medical follow-up required by Section 5193 of Title 8 of the California Code of Regulations for any employee engaged in the production of adult films at the employer's expense. Moreover, an employer shall designate a custodian of records for purposes of this section, and a copy of the original production shall be retained by the custodian of records. What's wrong with that? As you read further into the bill, you'll see why these producers aren't really having it. Also stated in Section G of the bill, an employer shall pay the costs of required medical monitoring such as STD testing and keep confidential employee records. In Section H, an employer shall adopt, implement, maintain, and update as required a written health and safety program that is approved by the department that meets the requirements of the Injury and Illness Prevention Program and the Bloodborne Pathogen Standard, which is the California Code of Regulations. Also, an employer shall provide department-approved information and training on health and safety to employees at the employer's expense. And also, explicitly stated in the bill, It says that this section shall not be construed to require condoms, barriers, or other personal protective equipment to be visible in the final product of an adult film, which means the whole defense that people won't watch porn because condoms will ruin the experience doesn't relate at all to this. The bill specifically says you're not required to show them. You can edit them out. I don't understand why they don't add more jobs and hire more people to make those edits possible. Oh yeah, because they are cheap and want to bank further off their exclusive, unrestricted rights to the financial exploitation of all the performers' content that the performers receive zero royalties on. The producers, not the performers, do not want to pay money to protect the performers or protect the quality of viewing. This bill will cost the producers more money and could potentially create a lot more jobs, but the industry wants to deny this and propagate otherwise so they can keep their already low overhead as low as possible. Wise up, performers. This is your chance to gain leverage in this industry and gain some rights and protect yourself as well as your income. This bill is purely designed to protect the performers. That is why I honestly don't understand how these producers have the audacity to attack people and performers that are for this bill. Their actions prove that they are trying to protect their self-interest. This became apparent to me when I saw one of my favorite performers and members of the Adult Performers Coalition for Choice, Tasha Rain, attacking that Jesse Rogers girl on Twitter for standing up for performers. Before I saw Tasha's tweets, all I knew about Jesse Rogers was that she was some nympho who has arguably the worst boob job in porn. After seeing a fairly mature response from Miss Rogers, I saw an interesting video of hers on YouTube where she admits she contracted an STD through porn. Despite her courageousness in speaking out, these producers like Tasha and ill-informed fans have the audacity to say at least she didn't get HIV and there hasn't been any HIV transmissions in the industry for a couple of years now. I found this funny because one, according to the CDC, genital herpes is an STD, and that is what this bill is about preventing. It says specifically that it's not limited to just HIV and AIDS, which is what all the producers keep babbling about. Two, as the young 18 or 19-year-old Rogers put it, the industry has a long record of ignoring the other STDs in order to stay in business. That's why their state-of-the-art testing only tests for 3 goddamn diseases. Stop being ignorant, people. Last but not least, another piece of bullshit also being propagated is that this will hurt cam girls as well. Well, folks, that's another lie. Because according to this bill, these statutes are only enforceable in events of recorded sexual intercourse. Nude modeling in front of a camera and masturbating for viewers does not constitute a sexual intercourse. So you cam girls are safe unless you bring a penis into the picture. It's scary how much these people are lying to their peers just to line their pockets. Your health and your future is at risk, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Don't let these people with their not-so-smooth words and hidden agendas get to you. Although they have a couple of smart women on their side like Julia Meadows, she even said so herself in an interview on my home forum of Adult DVD Talk that, quote, she likes condoms better and thinks that they are safer with all these diseases these days. Although she is not a producer or a site owner, I will not irrationally speculate that she is being paid off by the FSC, just as most industry folk against the bill suggest that performers for the bill are being paid off by the AHF. Doesn't make sense. All in all, you get what I'm trying to say. I could say a lot more, but I feel as if I already surpassed most of the ill-informed industry folks' attention span by now. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you guys can make an informed decision. Start thinking about yourself just as these producers are, and just note that this industry can't survive without you guys. Start showing them that you aren't disposable, and get rid of all these slimy producers who can't meet basic workplace standards. They don't deserve to produce in the first place. Good luck, folks.